I think it's despicable, but it's not a shock.
Baby, you give me ice and fire.
Hello, it has been a minute. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to jump on the Charlotte Dujardin debacle and add my comments. I have just watched the video. I will play it now.
This is so shit at hitting hard.
When you watch this back, the big thing in this is to the closed lane. So while he's drifting sideways, you block it with the outside lane,
And I am going to just add my few comments. I have ridden some really, really good horses. I rode a horse, cantered him his first 20-meter circle when he was 4 and struggled to maintain canter on a circle. A horse that then went on to be ridden by a local dressage rider, and after her went on to be ridden by Carl Hester. I've also ridden some show jumpers that were sold to international homes, to renowned show jumpers, and compete internationally. I have ridden most of the advanced dressage movements, have done piaffe passage, the extended movements, canter pirouettes, the lateral movements, flying changes. The only thing I have not done is the tempi changes, because I didn't ever get to sit on a horse that could actually do that, though I have ridden everything else. And I have ridden some fantastic show jumping horses. So I'm not a complete noob, and I would like to just give my opinion. Now, having seen her here, I understand that as a coach and as a competitive rider, they want to produce something and they want to produce it now. I think it's totally out of order. I do not believe that the ends justify the means. I think that this was not an error of judgment. It was calculated. I think that if it was caught on video once, it has been done many times, and is possibly a standard part of training, though, you know, that horse, in my opinion, was doing nothing wrong. It wasn't being dangerous. It wasn't ignoring the rider. It just maybe wasn't at the stage where it could produce the kind of lift that they want, and the sit and the lift in front and the cadence and everything that they wanted. Now, that can be done with training. It takes longer. It takes a small bit of improvement every day. It takes a consistent training and riding and building a partnership with your horse, and building teamwork with your horse so he understands what you want, and building slowly the muscle. I mean, the horse looks fantastic, but as a horse, it's a nice horse, but it takes a while for that understanding in the horse's brain to develop of, okay, this is what you want, and then for the muscle and everything to build up in the way that he can maintain that and sustain that over longer periods while working, you know. And so to artificially produce something with a whip and beat the horse is just never the way to go. Aside from animal cruelty and all of that, it just doesn't produce, I don't know. I'm all for taking things slowly, building a team with your horse, and the work, the level of work that you want can come anyway. It just takes a little bit longer. But to beat a horse like that It's not an error of judgment. It's very calculated. It's a, we want this result. We want it now. We can't get it. Give it. Give it. Give me the result I want. Give me the result I want. And it's just not right. Honestly, I'm not shocked, because in my years working with horses, I've seen some stuff. I have seen clients beat horses and leave welts all over them. I have, at riding schools, I have seen spur marks on riding school while working liveries who, you know, raw sides and things from clients who think they know a lot, and then have to be banned from the horse. I have seen a horse hate somebody so much because that person beats it. You know, the horse, yeah, had some bad experiences show jumping and then got beaten over jumps to make it jump after that. And I've seen that. And I've seen that it would try and bite that person every time the person went near it, and yet everyone else could ride it no problem. And so horses do have opinions. They do have feelings. They do recognize the person that's beating them. And I don't believe that the ends justify the means. I honestly don't. It's why I was never any good in jump-offs, because I would train the horse nicely at home and get it jumping, and it was all trusting me and beautiful, and I didn't want to wreck that by pulling and pushing around a jump-off. So I'd never win, because I'd never be fast enough. But I preferred the training and the teamwork to the ends justifying the means, and we're going to go hell for leather and just win at all costs, you know. So I understand they want to produce something because they've got to have that little something extra to win the competitions, but I don't believe it's worth it, and I think it's wrong, actually. And I think it's probably been done many times. For it to be caught on video once means it's a standard part of training. So I don't believe it was out of character. The problem is when you see a horse as a commodity or something that's going to win you a medal or a prize or renown or fame or whatever you want to call it, you stop seeing them quite so much as an individual creature with feelings of its own. Like that horse was clearly in torment there. It was doing its best. It was trying to give them everything they wanted, and yet they were still walloping it. And I saw right at the very end when it cantered around the last corner, I think they had more of what they wanted. But to produce it that way, just... And I feel like I should be stronger worded, and I feel like I should be having a hissy fit and being really, really angry and being all of that. But I'm not, because I'm not shocked, because I have seen stuff in my life. So it doesn't shock me, but it does make me really sad, actually. I'm very emotional these days. It does make me very sad. I find it totally unnecessary. It's not... Horses, generally, I find that horses want to work with us. If we show them a bit of understanding, we have to be firm. You can't have a massive, monstrous, great animal like that hurling itself around for the fun of it. There are horses that need to be shown where the boundaries are, but I don't think beating does that, ever. But you have to find what works with each horse. And a horse cannot be allowed to run riot. It cannot be dangerous. But this horse is not dangerous. It's wanting to please. And I find that most horses want to please. And it's our misunderstanding of them, or our inability to ride them well, that then means we, they, whatever, resort to methods which are pretty unsavoury, to be fair, and not right. And I have only seen people beating horses when they're unable to find the key to unlock that horse's willing cooperation. And that is a fault of theirs. It's not a fault of the horses. Yeah. We had one particular client when I worked at a riding school competition livery yard many years ago now. We had one client who left spur marks, as in big red raw patches on a horse's side, whip marks on them. And then one time when a horse was a little bit anxious and a little bit sensitive, instead of learning how to ride it tactfully, she got really cross with it and she swung its head to the side and smashed its face into one of the pillars on the side of the arena on the indoor school. I think she was banned after that. And so I find that people start whipping and hitting when they don't have the knowledge or the tools in their own arsenal to be able to get the horse to willingly cooperate with them. And that is a lack of horsemanship and a lack of riding. Now, I'm not saying Charlotte Dujardin is not a fantastic rider. She looks good when she's on a horse. And maybe I'm not making excuses for her. Maybe she was trying to make up for this rider's lack. I don't know. Or maybe they were trying to produce something too quickly that needed to be built up over time. I don't know. But it was not an error in judgment. It was overdone. There's one thing touching the horse with the whip and just be like, come on. There's another thing doing that. Totally different. So I don't know. I feel like I should give all this outraged speech, but I can't. Because I'm quite saddened by it, and I am not shocked, unfortunately. I know that, I know that other aids are used to teach carriage, piaffe, all that kind of thing. I knew one dressage rider once who had a long, like the bottom part of the lunge whip, and it was a big little rubber ball on the end of it, and he would just doing it on the horse's hindquarters to get a bit of rhythm, or just doing it against them. But it was a rubber ball to make the thing bend and bounce, so that he didn't whack them with it, and there was no long lash on the end of it or anything like that. He just had this doingy thing that he used to doing on them, and that for me was just like, oh, you can't teach this without that. I don't know that I like this anymore. But that was mild compared to what's going on in this video. I do find horses really forgiving, and I do find that they want to work with us, and I don't see any reason to wreck that by causing fear, by being so short-sighted that you want to achieve something right now, rather than take your time to work on it and be happy with small improvements and be happy with the horse building that way of going so that he's then able to sustain it. And so I am very saddened, but not shocked. It's the upshot of it, Like, I hate it when I see people pulling on their horses' mouths to get them in some kind of outline. It's just so unnecessary as well. But it's lack of being able to actually ride that makes people look for the short fix. I can get this horse looking like this right now. It doesn't matter if it's not going correctly. It doesn't matter if it's blocking in certain places. It doesn't matter if the way you're riding it is stopping it from building up muscle in places, as long as it looks like it's got its head in. And I just find that horrendous as well, because it's not necessary. You can ride a horse with a still hand and it will still go nicely. So I do like things done properly. That's my personal way of doing things. I don't like force. I have found that if you ride well, every horse wants to offer you what you want. Now, there may be issues that you have from previous training, previous riding, that have to be worked out and figured out and worked through. But generally, I find when the horse realizes you're on its side, then it actually just wants to offer you what you're asking for. And yeah. Anyway, so upshot is saddened a lot. Find it totally unnecessary. It's just not necessary. I understand they go, well, the ends justify the means. It needs to do this and that, and it needs more carriage, and it needs more to sit on its hocks, on its hindquarters more, and it needs to be lighter in front. And it can't go round with its neck looking like that. Therefore, do all of this. But I don't think of it as an it. I think of it as a conscious being with nerves and feelings and pain responses and fear and everything else, that if you can just work with that animal, it will work with you nicely. And so, yeah. So anyway, my opinion is, let's do it again. My opinion is saddened, not shocked, was not the first time. That's my opinion. I couldn't say it because I don't know the woman. But in my opinion, if you've been seen on video and you don't mind being seen on video doing that, then you've done more than that at home or worse. Not more or worse. I mean, you've at least done that at home or worse. If this is normal for you to do this in front of the people watching and videoing. So, yeah, and if a person can't get to the top in their sport without having to do this kind of thing, then they're not really a... I say a horse person, a horsewoman, a horseman, in every sense of the word. They might be able to ride, they might be able to push and pull, they might be able to look nice on a horse, they might be able to use all the correct muscles in their own body to get a good response out of the horse, but horsemanship, and the holistic approach to the care of this animal who is wanting to work with you and willing to do what you ask and trying its best, to understand that it's trying its best, and then go, okay, you're doing your best, now how about we just do this little thing, and then it does that, and you go, okay, should we do this now, and can we do a little bit more, and can we try this, and it takes time. It's not all done in one day, is it? But to ride in that more holistic kind of way, like, I understand, horse, you're giving me everything you got, that's okay, let's work like this then. And then when it's happy doing that, then you ask for a little bit more, and then you understand that the horse is trying and it's doing its best and it's giving you everything it's got, and then you go, okay, well, I'm happy with this. And when that's established, then you move up a bit and you ask for a little bit more, and the horse is like, oh, that too, oh, all right then. And that's how it needs to be done, not by beating the horse. And so, look, I can't be all outraged because it's not a surprise, basically. It's heavy in here. It's a heavy thing, but it's not a shock. I think it's despicable, but it's not a shock. I think it's unnecessary, but it's not a shock. I think it's really sad, but it's not a shock. I think that horse was giving everything it's got. And they were trying to force it to give more when it was already really trying. Yeah, what else can I say? Hopefully I'll have some more videos soon. I can't really film the clients I'm teaching at the moment. So maybe I'll do some analysis videos or some, pick other people apart videos. No, I don't like to pick people apart. Maybe I'll do some other analysis videos at some point. Yeah, but I am still out there. I am still riding here and there, and I am still teaching. So it's all good. I'm enjoying myself. Yeah, just haven't had the opportunity to film anyone really. But thank you for watching if you got this far, and I will hopefully make some more videos in the near future. So like and comment and subscribe and all of that. And now I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Baby,